Hey everybody. My last video blog, I asked people that if they had anything they wanted me to talk about to shoot me a message, and I would go over one of the topics I was asked about. I had 4 people ask me to tell my story. I had a few more too, and I might get to them later on. But I had 4 people message me and ask me to tell my story about my brushing with suicide. And I did a written blog a few weeks back, the defining moment of my life, where I talked about it. But to be honest with you, whenever I started thinking about it, I started to feel like I was being kind of hypocritical by telling people in one of my other video blogs that they have their story to share it with other people. So I kind of felt like I was telling people to go and talk about their experiences, and I wasn't doing that. I was writing it down. So I'm gonna talk about my experience today. My story isn't, I don't think it's an original story. I don't think it's more impactful than anybody else's story. It's just my story. But pretty much I had a job. I was going to work, and at the time I was working anywhere between like 55, 70 hours a week. I was living out on my own. I had just moved out, got my own place. All the that wasn't stressful to me at all. What was stressful to me was I was getting up and going to work. I would come home and I would do nothing, and then I would go to sleep. And I was too worn down to do anything. But I felt like that was my life. Get up, go to work, come home, go to sleep, repeat. I felt like I didn't have any other purpose, and it was real discouraging. I've always wanted to help people. I've always wanted to try to inspire people, and I was not doing that. And to be honest with you, looking back at it now, that's my fault. I wasn't doing anything to find a purpose. But it slowly and slowly got worse, where to the point where I was just like, if I do not have a purpose, then what's the point in even living? So I would sit around all night, pretty much. I couldn't sleep. There was no sleep at all. But I would sit up all night, thinking, and I was really, really angry at God. And at the time, I didn't even know if I believed in God, because I felt like if He was there, then He wouldn't be, I guess, letting me feel the way that I was feeling. But I got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. If I have no point in living, then I'm just going to go ahead and go. And I knew that it was going to hurt my family and friends. I knew that it was going to. And it was really, really selfish for me to even consider going through with it, knowing what it would do to them. But at the same time, I couldn't talk to anyone about it. It just, to me, I felt like I was going to be, going into these long, drawn-out, emotionally draining conversations, and I couldn't deal with that. I'm just not, I don't like doing that. And, I felt like I was going to be putting my burdens on people. I felt like I was going to have people looking over my shoulder every time I turned around because of the way I was feeling. And honestly, I felt like if I talked to people about it, it wasn't going to change the way that I felt, because I thought that I had no purpose. So, I didn't think talking about it was going to give me any kind of purpose. I thought it was only going to make things worse. But one night I sat down and I was like, I'm going to do this. So I went into my room, got a notepad. I wrote notes to a few different people, and I'm not going to get into detail about what the note said. That's not important now. But the gist of it was for them to keep loving life. That I know what I've done has hurt them, but anyways, so the night that I was going to do it, I sat down in my computer chair. I had a bottle of 100 sleeping pills, and I planned on taking every one of them. I was sitting in that computer chair, and a guy that I known a while back, he popped into my head. And throughout this entire process, what stopped me from doing it sooner was I was sitting there and I was like, if there is a God, am I going to go to hell because of this? Now that kept ringing in my mind. I didn't know if God existed. I didn't know. But that question, what if God is there? If he's not there, then if it's all nothing, then nothing happens. If he's there, then I could have a very, very big problem. But that scared me. Am I going to go to hell? Am I going to be damned, or will I be forgiven? So I messaged a guy on Facebook because I knew he would know the answer to it, and I asked him if I would go to hell. I didn't say I was going to do it, but I asked him if a person commits suicide, would they go to hell? I can't really remember off the top of my head exactly the way the conversation happened. I just remember him trying to talk to me, and he was wanting to come and see me. I wouldn't tell him where I was at or anything, but he pretty much told me if I'm afraid that's where I'll go, that very well might be where I go. And whenever he said that, that what if, it just kind of clicked with me, like that could be my fate, and that scared me. So I sat there a little while longer, and he told me that God put him on my mind, and that I needed him to help me. And whenever he said that, I took the sleeping pills that were on the computer desk, and I just knocked them to the side and went flying across the room. But I broke down. Like I was broken. He called me and talked to me, and I was a mess. And the thing that's amazing to me is that this person really didn't even know me, and he cared enough about whether I kept my life or not. But anyways, that's the gist of my story, and I'm gonna go into this one more time. If you have a story, if you've had a brush-in with suicide, share your story, people. If we're silent about it, we're accepting the world as it is, and there are 30,000 people dying every single year of suicide. We cannot accept that. Share your story. Look, let me tell you something. I am a normal guy. I do not have a large following. I am not famous by any stretch of the imagination. And you know what? 80% of the people watching this might not give a crap about what I'm saying, but there's somebody somewhere out there that needs to hear the fact that there's hope in this world. And you do not have to be world known or insanely popular to make a difference. And I really do not think that the world needs more famous people. I think the world just needs people that care. But share your story. I know what's going through your head. You sit there and you think that if you start sharing your story, you're going to get all these looks. People are going to make comments. But the fact of the matter is, you know what it feels like to not have hope, and you know what it feels like to have hope. Spread that to someone else that needs it. Let's save one of these 30,000 lives. Let's change their world. And talking about it isn't hard, but at the same time, we have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. In order to change the world, we can't just do the things that we're comfortable with doing. That hasn't worked so far. We have to step outside of our comfort zone in order to do that. And what better way to change the world than saving a life? But I try to keep this under 10 minutes, but thanks to everybody for watching this. I just want to say it one more time. Share your story. Don't worry about what people think anymore. That right there, it's time that we step out and start being individuals instead of worrying about what everybody else is going to think about what we say or do. But share the story. Go up to one person right now. If you know that they are struggling with something, go up to one person right now. Share your story. Tell them it's going to be okay. Tell them that there is hope. Tell them to hold on just a little bit longer. You'll be surprised at the the effect that you can have on somebody just by your words. But continue sending me messages. If you have a topic that you want me to go over, let me know. Comment on this, share it. No, if you got any comments about it, comment on it. But thank you all for the support. I'm still getting overwhelming amount on in my messages and all. It's absolutely amazing still. But that's part of my story. So I'll see you next time.